Hi, Ms. Plank. I'm Kelly Smith. Thank you for joining me today. We are so grateful to be here at your house, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about Cleveland and the child life profession throughout our interview here.
Nice to meet you, Kelly. The pleasure is mine. I'm very excited to share my work and accomplishments regarding child life with you today.
Thank you. So I know I'm jumping to the gun here, but I was just wondering what it was like and what you felt when Dr. Catan asked you to move to Cleveland originally. I've studied her work, and I'm very fond of her.
Well, when I first got a letter from Dr. Annie Catan to come work for them in Cleveland, I started to laugh. I thought, why in the world should I leave San Francisco? Me and Robert are happy here. But everything started to point to me moving. It was then when I received the second letter to start a preschool for children who have emotional problems, which made me much more tempted. And then I finally received a third letter that said Anna Freud was coming, which made my decision for me to move.
Oh, I bet. So when was it then you actually made the move from San Francisco to Cleveland?
Well, Kelly, I moved here in 1950, and it was the best decision I could have ever made.
So, if I may ask, I know there was a lot of influential people that were there along the journey to get you to Cleveland, but what was it that actually inspired you to make the move?
Well, Dr. Catan herself was truly amazing, and to be even more specific, she was taught by Anna Freud and Dr. Douglas Bond. I knew that I would be in good hands under Dr. Catan, and I'm still very fortunate that I received the offer from her.
And for those who don't know, would you be so kind to share who Anna Freud and Dr. Bond are?
Well, Anna Freud is an Austrian-British psychoanalyst. She was the sixth and last child of Sigmund Freud. She followed her path of her father and contributed to the field of psychoanalyst. Dr. Bond is the director of psychiatry at the University Hospital and was a key figure in the psychoanalytical community of Cleveland.
I can tell that Cleveland was a good place to be for studying children. Many intelligent individuals seem to subside here for their studies. It seems like the 50s and 60s were quite a ripe kind of climate for the development of the concept of child life and the emotional aspects of caring for hospitalized children. How did everything go when you officially got to Cleveland and were all settled?
Well, I came to Cleveland to change an old house into a nursery school for children with difficulties. The purpose of the whole concept was to work with others, but while I was working with the three other therapists, they said that education was not important, and I realized I could not work with them anymore.
So then was it after this that you made the switch to work with hospitalized children?
Well, I started a psychiatry and education program for graduate training because I knew that there was no early childhood education programs, and I really think that there needed to be one. And this was the time that the switch came that led me to work with hospitalized children.
And so then after this, it was then when Dr. Frederick Robbins found you and asked for your help. And he was the director of pediatrics and contagious disease at Cleveland Metropolitan General Hospital, right? Well, that is quite the accomplishment, Ms. Plank. Was anyone else involved with this process while it was all going on?
I involved my graduate students in the program's development because I found it necessary, and I still do, that any individual who comes in contact with a child in the hospital to first learn how they develop and how they are affected by illness and hospitalization, as well as in the ways in which they cope.
So those were so many accomplishments, but did you complete any other accomplishments during the time you were directing the program?
Well, after 7 years of being director, I published my first book called Working with Children in Hospitals, a guide for the professional team.
And what does this book obtain?
It is filled with pictures, now outdated because they are black and white, of playrooms and bedside activities, children's artwork, and an illustrated medical preparation story. If I do say so myself, the book was quite a hit, and I'm still very proud of this work.
If I am correct, your book was even so popular that it got a second printing where it was reprinted and revised in 1971.
Yes, that is right. It was even translated into 4 different languages, including German, French, Spanish, and Japanese.
That is very interesting, Miss Plank. Did anyone else help you with this book and its success, or was it solely done by yourself?
Oh, no, I could never do that on my own. I had much help. My first assistant, Marlene Ritchie, assisted me with writing the first book. Marlene is a wonderful person and so very helpful to me. She was a nursing instructor and teacher at the time, so she had a lot of beneficial input to provide.
And Dr. Robbins, someone very fond of you, even credited you for the remarkable changes that your book was able to bring to pediatrics.
Yes, he did, Kelly. In his foreword about my book, he expressed great concern about the during hospital experience was focusing too much on the child's illness rather than the child's emotions. He said it was becoming too impersonal.
As I read in his foreword, he said, Someone must defend the children against the system. And as everyone knows, he was referring to you and the great work that you have done for children in our hospitals.
Yes, I'm so very grateful for the invitation that I received from Dr. Robbins. I would have not been able to do what I've done, and I really think that he believed what I was doing to advocate for the children was really important.
So, Ms. Plank, I know that you have had some other pretty big accomplishments as well besides your book.
Well, Kelly, in the 60s, way back then, I was doing work locally and nationally. Locally, I was doing an interdisciplinary teamwork, and I opened up an outpatient clinic.
The outpatient was called Play Corner, correct?
Yes, it was. And it was a clinic that served children who were not sick but who had a family member in the hospital.
Wow, that is just awesome. And what kind of work did you do nationally?
Many people say I took leadership roles and served as a model of energetic engagement, but all I was trying to do was develop hospital programs.
That makes sense because you were elected president of the Midwestern Association of Nursery Education between the years of 1961 and 1962, so I can see why people thought so highly of you.
That is so very kind of you to say.
In 1965, I also heard that you had another big accomplishment. Would you mind sharing that? What happened in that year?
Well, in 1965, I was identified as one of the 6 founders of the Association of Care of Children in Hospitals, and after this, I was actually elected president somewhere between the years of 1960 and 1970. I'm getting old, I get really confused.
And the accomplishments don't even stop here, do they?
Oh, Kelly, you know how to flatter me. Well, if you're asking, I was delegate to the White House Conference in 1970, where I participated in a conference dealing with the effects of hospitalization on children. I was awarded the gold medal from the Montessori Centennial sometime during this period, and soon after this, I felt that my work was done, and I had accomplished all that I had wanted and more. So in 1971, I decided it was time to retire at the age of 66.
And that is very understanding. So, if I'm getting my dates right, it was about a decade after you retired that the establishment of the Child Life Council came to be. I cannot imagine how rewarding of an experience this was for you, and to have, especially at the end of your career.
You are so right, Kelly. This was one of the best things that could have ever happened for our children. I felt secure knowing that there was going to be a whole council to plan for children and stand for and advocate their rights and opportunities.
Hundreds of children, parents, and colleagues have benefited from your knowledge and compassion that you have had towards this field, and know you are known as the mother of child life because of all the work that you have done. I have always admired you, Ms. Plank, and now I do so even more. Thank you for all the work you have completed to make the lives of children better. You are a true hero for the world of child life.